It is so darn fun and cool on a Sunday morning to have my idol role model mentor, Kris Volcheck, come over to the house.
Good to see you, Howard.
And this guy's been my idol role model. We always interview people who are endodontists, periodontists, pedontists. The American Dental Association has 9 specialties, and you're from the specialty of public health.
I am.
And that's a rare bird. We both have our MBA from Arizona State University. The only difference is he got that magna cum laude, beta, gamma, sigma. All I got was a letter from the dean that says never come back. He got it, but Kris got a DDS from Emory in 1985, and when he graduated, they closed the damn school.
It was at 89. I was told 89. No, it was 89.
You planted the seeds for them closing that down. He got a BS in biology, and I got a BS in bullshit. Upon graduating from dental school in 1985, Dr. Volcheck opened a private dental practice in Globe, Arizona, which is about, 2 hours up the street?
2 hours.
His patients range from 0 to 80, and he provided comprehensive dentistry to the small metropolitan community approximately 90 miles east of Phoenix. Once the practice was in full operation, Dr. Volcheck began work on a master's in business administration. While attending ASU, he became acquainted with Mary Orton, the founder and then director of Central Arizona Shelter Services. Mrs. Orton persuaded Dr. Volcheck to volunteer at CAS's single adult shelter. Following completion of his MBA, Dr. Volcheck transitioned from a volunteer to a part-time case manager. In 93, he closed his dental practice and became a full-time case manager. Dr. Volcheck quickly immersed himself in the issues surrounding homelessness. During his 7 years as a case manager, he witnessed firsthand the devastating effects homelessness can have on an individual's oral health. In 99, he began preparation for the state's only dental clinic for the homeless. Working in collaboration with the Arizona State Office of Oral Health and the Maricopa County Healthcare for the homeless clinic, the CAS Dental Clinic opened to its first patient January 1, 2001. In the first year, 20 volunteer dentists, 15 hygienists, and 20 dental labs provided services in the 2-chair dental trailer. 4 years later, Dr. Volcheck completed the design, secured funding, and oversaw relocation of the clinic to an 8-chair facility located on the Human Services campus in downtown Phoenix. It is presently one of the largest volunteer-driven dental clinics of the nation, providing comprehensive dental care to homeless veterans, adults, and children. There are many hundreds of volunteers and dental students now working at the clinic to serve the oral health needs of the homeless community. In addition to serving as dental director, Dr. Volcheck frequently provides technical assistance to agencies wishing to establish similar dental programs. He is also presented at the annual National Healthcare for the Homeless Conference. In March 2007, Dr. Volcheck opened the CAS Dental Program for the homeless children on the Human Services campus. The children's program utilizes the same successful model of dental volunteers and students providing treatment to the homeless children. In June 2010, with funding from the Bruce and Diane Howe Foundation, is that the
Bruce
founders?
and Diane Hawley Foundation of Discount Tire.
Of Discount Tire. Dr. Volcheck launched the Murphy's Kid Dental Clinic. The clinic served 2,200 impoverished children in this elementary school district. On July 1st, 2014, the Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation, now that's GoDaddy?
That's GoDaddy.
That's GoDaddy, funded the opening of the Parsons Center for Pediatric Dentistry and Orthodontics at the site of Murphy's Kids Dental Clinic. The Bob and Renee Parsons has continued to support the efforts to treat these uninsured children. The center provides comprehensive care to over 15,000 impoverished, mostly Hispanic children each year. I mean, they say in dentistry, I grew up in Catholic school, that the patron saint of dentistry was Saint Apollonia. Are you familiar with Saint Apollonia?
No. Wasn't that a singer in the 1980s? Apollonia was Prince?
The Romans told her to denounce Jesus, and so she said no, so they pulled a tooth. So they said, now denounce her. And she wouldn't do it, they pulled another tooth. Long story short, they pulled every one of her teeth. And so she was the martyr of dentistry. She lost all of her teeth because she refused to denounce.
How did I not know that?
But I think you are the Saint Apollonia of dentistry. You really are. I'm not kidding, man. I've been to your center, and that is patron saint stuff that you've been doing your whole career. How long have you been in public health?
Since 91, 26 years.
26 years. Seriously, man.
I don't think so.
And also, a lot of right-wing commentary, they see some homeless guy and they're thinking, get a job. You have been working with these people for so long, and you were telling me, like, 85% of these people probably have mental illness?
Here's the thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
are these people homeless because
No,
they just
okay.
need to get a
So
job?
the thing is, I mean, when somebody, it's almost comical for someone to say get a job. Most people, whether at any echelon, including the homeless, are doing their best they can. And no one chooses. I'll give it, 30 years back there were some hobos, they'd call them hobos. And we have homeless. But most people that are homeless are moderately or severely mentally ill. No one is on the street because they want to be. There might be 5% of the wanderers or the hobos who like that lifestyle. But 95% are people that don't want to be on the street. Who wants to be on the street? Who wants to have no place to poop or pee? Who wants to be in one of the shelters with 1,000 other bodies that aren't being well maintained? Nobody wants that. They're not down there because they don't have resolve to do better. They're not down there because they can't pull up their bootstraps. They're down there because that's the only place they can be. So when people say get a job, they would get a job if they could. But yes, that's bothersome to me because those people are doing the very best they can, and all that we can do is take care of them from a humanitarian basis. But yeah, get a job's always humorous to me because it's so off base. And it shows to me, just like anything else, people haven't been exposed to that population. When you bring people down and they see what's happening down, and these people are good people, but they cannot maintain a household. They just can't.
It's same with, I grew up in I was born in Kansas, very Republican, conservative, Catholic. I had a 17-year younger gay brother. So when I hear all these people that they chose that lifestyle, they haven't been around it. They didn't have a baby gay brother where you knew he was gay 10 years before he did. And people who have all these judgmental thoughts about homeless people, they've never talked to homeless people. They see him standing on the corner, but they never talk to him. But specifically, is it safe to say the majority mental illness is schizophrenia, not?
No, it is not. No, it is not. But I want to get back to one of your points. Whether you have exposure counts, and maybe we have a gay brother, so we're sympathetic to gays, or maybe we have a sister-in-law that you're white and they're Hispanic or black. For everyone, it's no different. Once you have exposure and see that those people are no different than you, then that breaks down barriers. But what am I always hoping, Howard, is that me as a gay, I should understand as a minority, I've had things happen to me because of being gay. I've not gotten jobs before. I've had to leave situations because I didn't want to actually embarrass or put a practice. If you were gay in the 80s and HIV was big, people just assumed if you're gay, you may have HIV. So being a dentist wasn't that easy when I first started. In Globe, I will tell you this. If the guy that I was partnered with had a long-standing practice in Globe, and we had a great relationship. If he would have found out that I was gay, I would have exited that practice for him. And there were some people that came up from the valley that knew me, that knew I was gay. Had he found out, he probably would have been kind and gentle about it, but he would have asked me to leave, and he should, because his practice would have been ruined because the assumption of being gay and HIV. So I didn't have to leave that practice, but I was ready. So, but my point, going back to my point, exposure counts. I get this all the time, and I'll give this as an example. A lot of people have preconceived notions about gays. I think Harvey Milk said, come out. All of you responsible professionals come out. So when people know there's gays everywhere and they're doing work for the homeless, what are they going to say about me? Usually what I get is, hey, you're a man of God. Well, I don't think anyone needs to help people just because you're a man of God, but their preconceived notion changes when you're doing big work for the community. So it's my responsibility, and gays in general, if one can, I'm not telling people to come out, but if one can, you should let others know that that is part of who you are. So they change their notion about gays, and they change their notion about other minorities. I think that's a big deal for all of us. Homeless, gays, blacks, what are you? What ethnic?
I'm short, fat,
bald Irish.
100% Irish.
Well, shit, Irish used to, coming over, they were looked down upon. The immigration waves are no different. They exposed to Irish, even though you were white, you still were,
You know why the Irish were historically the most hated?
What?
A lot of people think they're most hated because everybody that fled Europe was protesting the Catholic Church. They were all religious groups. They were Quakers and Lutherans and Mennonites and Amish.
Oh, yes.
And so everyone was a protester. Then 40 years before the Statue of Liberty, the Irish have the famine. So you had the great Exodus. 1 million Irish washed up on the shore, bringing their priests and bishops and cardinals, building these Catholic monstrosities, which was the reason all the Europeans had left. So they were pretty low life. My great-grandmother, who lived to be like 96, said that she had a help wanted need not apply of Irish, but they were all leaving Boston, New York, because it was really bad. So they went into Iowa, and then they went as far into Parsons, Kansas, and they would all lie and tell everyone they were German.
Right. So my background's Eastern European. I come up from a poor coal mining county, Fayette County in Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. We were on the line of West Virginia, very impoverished and all about coal. When we came over, when my grandparents came over, Russian, Czech, Slovak, they were called hunkies, as in Hungarians. Not honkies, as generally derogatory for blacks for whites, but we were called hunkies. And the worst term you could call each other, or one could call, is patch hunky. A patch hunky is if you lived in the coal mining's housing and you couldn't afford anything else, that was a patch. So the lowest you could be was a patch hunky. So even though we might look similar in color, every immigration wave we're still against those immigration, whether it's for Catholics or whether it's for Muslims, it's all the same. And we tend to look about that far backwards and forwards and instead of seeing those immigration pieces are exactly the same every time.
And we see a lot of racism today. We see. Can I say we're never supposed to talk about religious sex politics, but I want to say something as Irish. When you see these bombings in the UK recently,
right,
it immediately goes to the person's religion. But being Irish, the Irish Republican Army was causing bombings and chaos my whole life, and they would trace those back to Catholic priests and bishops and cardinals in Boston. And you didn't hear, and whenever the Irish are there, like, well, what's wrong? Why are you doing this? They talk about the issue,
right?
But now it's not. Well, what is the issue? It's not the issue. It's like you're a damn, Muslim, or you're brown, or you're brown-eyed, and it's
Absolutely.
and it's like, how come the Irish did 10 times worse most of my life in the IRA, and do you see that difference?
Oh,
Do you see that difference?
I certainly do.
When a white Catholic Irish guy blows up shit in England, very, very different than when a brown-eyed Muslim does it.
Absolutely.
Can we leave this on the table, or have we gone completely into the stratosphere?
I don't know. You can edit this or whatever.
No, we're not.
Oh, okay. No, as you can imagine, because one of my driving forces is social injustice or anything to alienate any other group. There's fringe pieces of Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus.
My family.
Any of us, there's fringe groups.
Yeah.
But to then alienate other people because of those fringe groups, which is worse? The fringe groups causing destruction, or then the minority of someone, or the majority in some cases, alienating a part of our country for whether they're Muslim or Catholic or anything. I find both reprehensible. The fringe groups, what they do is hurtful, but I almost focus more on what happens from the majority, then alienating, again, back to, that just makes me sick, Muslims or Mexicans or, as you said, religion or skin color, or gay, anything to alienate anyone else, that is my biggest bother, I will tell you, in general. And that all weaves into helping the homeless or helping the downtrodden or helping people who are alienated. But to alienate our brothers and sisters inside our country or alienating our brothers and sisters, I just look globally. I don't want to alienate anybody. So that's exceptionally disturbing to me. So, yes, we are.
Growing up Catholic, my favorite nun was Mother Teresa. I mean, she spent her whole time in Calcutta. She was born in Romania, and spent her whole time with the poor. There's so many dentists who become rich and famous, cosmetic, whatever the heck, and you've spent your entire career getting working with the homeless. I think what you've done is amazing.
Well, I'll go back to that, Howard, and I don't know why other people do what they do, and I don't have any comment. If you're not hurting anybody and you're generally helping or neutral, I'm good with you. I'm especially good with you if, for whatever reason, you're down there helping the people who need help. But I can't even guess why I do the things that I do, let alone someone else half the time. We have a certain genetic mix and environmental mix, and it manifests in a certain way. But I will tell you, if I have to guess, being gay has been one of the most helpful things in my life. I wouldn't have said that to you when I was 18 through 22, and I was really, on a daily basis, really contemplating suicide because I didn't have where's my model? What am I going to do here? My model for success, this is the path to success. I don't have a path to success. So it was a tormented attribute from 18 to 22. But once I accepted and realized that because being gay ripped away all of my preconceived notions about societal constructions, that affected everything that I did. Okay, I'm not going to get married. I may have kids, I may not, but why do I have to follow money as a male? Why do I have to follow creating big things? Why do I have to follow that path if I didn't follow this path? So it helped me because it removed those constructions and, well, shit, I can go. I don't have to do what I don't want to do. And if I don't want to do dentistry, but I feel like helping the underserved, go do that. My parents, who were very loving and wonderful, they're still back a generation. We support you, but you're going to ruin your life. It was the best thing that happened to me, but part of it was because I was gay, and I said, why do I have to live by these constructs? So if I look at my brothers and sisters who are lovely, who are heterosexual, they took the more traveled path, and I didn't. So I would have to tell you that was a horrible burden at 18 to 22.
Were you born and raised in Globe?
No, I was born and raised outside of Pittsburgh in that small coal mine. Yeah, small coal mine.
18 to 22, you were still.
I was at Pitt. So I grew up in a very small coal mining town, and you can imagine that gay wasn't even a thing that was discussed. It wasn't even a thing that was discussed. But I knew that I shouldn't be. So growing up and then starting dating, and I tried. The rainbow flag with all those colors, I look at that and think, I tried every color of woman that I could possibly try to be the norm. Through embarrassing moments after embarrassing moments. And then, while I went off to Pitt, still trying. I knew I was gay, but I just didn't want to admit it. So I become a lifeguard down on the beach at Myrtle Beach. You know why you're there to be a lifeguard. You're there to be a lifeguard, to have sun and women, and that's all you're there for. And the women are there to have sun and guys. So I would walk out onto my beach in the morning, and there'd be women all around my lifeguard stand just waiting for me to come out. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And they were there at the beach. They were formidable. They were rip your clothes off formidable because that's why you're there. So I tried. So if anyone tells you that, hey, if you just haven't found the right woman, I tried every ethnic, every color, every religion that I could possibly do, and I finally gave up. But I will tell you, as I said, absolutely embarrassing moment after embarrassing moment. But I did try. So after I got into dental school, in dental school, not till I was 25, did I meet a gentleman that I was interested in.
At Emory?
At Emory, yes.
Now, did you ever get married?
I'm not married. I've been with my partner for 20 years. I am going to, whether one is married or not, whether I was hetero or homo, that's not the point for me. The point is...
You've been in...
the point is I'm responsible. I hold this person dear. We've been together for 20 years. We are going to go ahead and get married, though. I just want to make sure that everything financially is in place, but my love and my adoration of him and my responsibility for him doesn't have anything to do whether we're married or not, but we are going to do that just to make sure everything's financially okay.
I've gotten, I think most people who ever heard me lecture or knows me or whatever on the message boards, Dentaltown, knows that my little brother's gay. I get an email about once a month that'll say something like, I'm from a small town in Texas, and I live in fear that this conservative, they're all white male Republican, Texans, Georgians, whatever. They live in fear that someday someone will find out, and then they feel like they'll be cast out. And I also get the same sense from young women dentists. I'll say, "So do you like your study club?" And they go, "Well, I don't think I fit in. When I go there, all the guys are at tables and they're at collects, and I just sit there by myself." So if you're not like that inside, and you're at your study club, and you're sitting with your homies, I get that. You want to see your friends, but you see someone there sitting alone, and they're a kid, and you're an old dog. Tell them to come over to your table. But what would you say? What would you say to that gay man who's afraid that somebody might find out in Kansas?
We've learned a lot along the way, because there's been a lot of topics about this. One, Harvey Milk told all of us, Harvey
the second
Milk.
Time you said his name.
Harvey Milk told us all to come out. But
was that the first?
That's the San Francisco mayor, and he was killed. But it was in the 70s. But to that point,
and how old are you?
I'm 58.
Okay, and his name was Harvey
Milk.
Like milk you drink?
Yeah, MILK, very pioneer of gay rights.
Oh, I remember this guy.
Okay, he was killed, but
why was he killed?
Because he was gay, he had some power, and he was provocative.
And who do you think killed him?
They know. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not someone just hated.
Yeah, but here my point with this is, Harvey Milk did not. He said, "Come out." But people like me or professionals who didn't have a lot to worry about should come out, so people know that there's a lot of professionals doing good things that are gay. But what had happened, some people were coming out in dangerous circumstances, and they were pushing themselves to come out as if it was a responsibility. You cannot make a blanket statement about coming out, as we know. And so I'll give you this for instance. Do you know what's happening because coming out is much more popular, and a lot of people have accepted it, and the media has stories about people coming out and their family accepting them. But the rate of kids that are homeless is skyrocketing, and you'd think it would be the opposite. So what kids are seeing on Facebook and on media is all of these good stories about people coming out. So these kids in religious families at 15 and 16 are coming out. How's that different? When I came out, I was economically independent. So if your parents cast you aside, I wasn't going to be homeless. Well, what's happening now is 15 and 16-year-olds across Texas and the Bible Belt and the variety of religious communities are coming out, and they're being pushed out of their home. They have no economic basis in which to survive, so our homelessness for gays has risen greatly. So when someone asks about coming out, you really have to look at their circumstances. Coming out for just coming out is not always the best thing for that person. But that's exactly why we have a large population of homeless kids now.
That is so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. I mean, it's your baby. I mean, if my boys did something wrong and end up in life in prison without the possibility of parole, I'd still be there whenever I could visit. I mean, if they said you could only visit on Sundays from 1 to 3, I don't care what my kid did.
Absolutely, you'd be there.
I'd still be there.
My partner's Mormon, and again, we've been together for 20 years, and he has a lovely family. But in the beginning, just like many families and any fairly religious family, whether it's Mormon or any other religion, doesn't matter. It can happen in any religion. But he was really pushed aside, wasn't allowed to see the kids in the family, and he's a kid magnet. And it was really hurtful to him. But a lot of times, if you can, and stay with that person, stay with that family. If one can, again, this is just my experience. So we just continued to go over when we could. And I built a rapport with the guys and his brothers and sister-in-laws. And slowly but surely, when you show them that you're just another person with a lot of love, and we couldn't be closer now after 20 years. We're a very close family. I took care of the family. We became so close. The family asked me to actually help with the mother's care as she was dying. And that just shows the level that one can come to. A lot of times what happens, and I understand this, is gays leave. And a lot of times we must. I just happened to be in a circumstance that I could, I wasn't dependent on anybody, and we were fine financially. I didn't depend on his family. I didn't depend on my family. We could stay with them, and they finally turned around, and now we're just one big happy family, and they don't think gays, back to the exposure, they think gays are cool. They're like everyone else. But it took 20 years.
But they still probably think you're cool, you're nice,
but okay.
But you're still going to hell when you die.
Yeah, so here's the thing. No, you're right. They think,
thanks for cleaning my house. Thanks for taking me to dinner.
No, they think
you're
that.
still going to hell.
But here's the thing, and I had plenty of friends. But here's another thing people do. You're the exception. I have one of my stepmoms. I'll say stepmom. She's just a neighbor, and back in Pennsylvania. And one of my best friend is a black female. And my stepmom would say, "Oh, I love her. She's one of the good ones." And so people rationalize around it. They'll think they meet an exception, whether it's a black, Hispanic, or gay. So I think that's part of it also. But I give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Because some of the people that are so against racism, their own communities are the most anti-gay. Like you'll be seeing someone on television, and like they're in a third world war torn country fighting over religion, and everybody feels sorry for her.
Right.
But this girl you're feeling sorry for, if she found out her little brother was gay, she'd stone him.
I know.
I mean, it's like, okay, so you're always on TV talking about fighting racism, but you're the most anti-gay person, so people are so
And I
complex.
understand that. And in an ideal world, I would hope, but this doesn't transpose, that every oppressed group never oppressed another group. But that isn't the case.
Right.
Yes, if you're oppressed, think of what it means. So don't ever oppress another group that isn't like you. But that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I see it all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
pity, poor me, I'm being oppressed. Well, they turn around and oppress three other groups.
I think that's a lesson for all of us.
Because this is an adult conversation. This is Dentistry Uncensored. And I've always been that way in my life. Like, if you want to get up and walk out, I never cared. I always thought deep down inside, like, God, we're both dentists, and I just said something and you just walked out. That is just like, people are crazy. So let's on the, it's God, I don't want to call it the ninth. I didn't want to call it the ninth specialty. The ADA recognized 9 specialty, but I do think of it as a 9th specialty because it gets the least amount of attention.
Of course it does.
So should we call it the 9th dental specialty or the?
You can call it anything you want,
but
it'll probably catch on. I think you should start.
What would mean the 9th? What would mean the one that gets overlooked? And what is a dental public health specialist? It'd be the Indian Health Service. It'd be
anything to do with the underserved population that the market will not take care of. So these people can't pay. So for-profit clinics or centers or dental offices, no one's going to take care of them because they can't support a business. So what we take care of are populations that there's no money attached or very little money attached. And we do that because these people need care like everyone else.
Now I want to talk about
Yes.
Well, let's go back to the oppressed and all this stuff. What I've noticed 30 years in this town, oh my God, this is going to be so controversial, but it's so true. the Arizona State Dental Association, the Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners, filled with all these men, usually white, that think they're a great guy, and they're usually always holding a Bible. And then the market, there's no dental office in Guadalupe. But by God, they find some Mexican dentist in some house doing dentistry on people who have no dentists and have no money to get dentistry. They believe in ethics and religion that nothing is better than something. And I always thought to myself, why would you be arresting? Well, I mean, if the Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners wants to say, okay, Howard is licensed, so if you're the consumer, you want regulatory, Howard is a licensed dentist. But if you have nothing and you want to go to an unlicensed dentist in an apartment, really? Your best moral idea that you learned in the Bible is to go arrest that guy? So I'm asking you this: is nothing better than something?
That one's a tough one for me, Howard. Here's.
He's not going to answer.
No. I am going to answer, but I'm going to.
That was a good question, though.
I deal with this constantly, so this is a good question for me.
Especially we're on the border.
No.
We're on the border. How far are we from Mexico? 100 miles?
200.
200 miles? And
Phoenix.
What percent of Guadalupe is illegal?
Right,
immigrants?
50%. 50% of the children's clinic are undocumented. 50%. Oh yeah, the person's pediatric is 50% are undocumented. But and I'll get back to your question. 50% means that most of those families, half the brothers and sisters are American citizens. The other ones came earlier, so they're not. So what I'm dealing with is a family that is undocumented and documented. Well, of course, they all should be cared for. What should one do? But here's the thing. Where's the line? I think nothing is better than negligence. And in the example that you're giving, those doctors or someone that's coming over that's performing shoddy dentistry, absolutely, I think nothing is better than negligence and shoddy dentistry. I think more, but this goes more to the argument of what we've all been speaking about is dental therapists, or where you're going in that sense, because no, I do agree that shoddy dentistry or negligent dentistry is worse than nothing. I do understand how people go for it because they can't afford what we're giving. Where's the solution is actually the question. Where's the solution?
Well, I mean, when they're hidden in an all Hispanic neighborhood that you and I couldn't find, they're not advertising, they don't have websites, they don't have anything, and usually when they here's the police storming a place, and it's a dental chair with some dentist from Mexico who's been doing his trade for 20, 30 years, pulling into doing whatever on undocumented workers who have abscesses and toothaches and can't mow lawns and hammer nails and put on roofing and all that stuff. It's like, that's the best use of your resources, to go arrest an illegal, undocumented dentist in the poorest part of town? You don't have anything better to do than that?
Well,
because when that 2-year-old girl has a toothache in the middle of the night and she doesn't have money and she doesn't have insurance, it's not like you're taking away money from the dentists who are licensed in medical dental buildings who have websites and business.
No, that's never a concern. That's never a concern of mine. Dentistry in America, I think, is doing very well. I want everyone to do well, but my concern is always not dentist pay. I think, again, we're all doing quite well. Access to care for anyone. Access to care for the patients. My focus is always on the patient. But it's not, I think we should be helping them. I don't think we should be, there's separate issues for me. I don't believe in deporting or alienating anyone, by the way, unless they're criminals. I get that. But what I've seen in my dentistry, especially at Parsons, is I've seen a lot of negligent dentistry from the Mexican docs. From Mexico. I have seen, and nothing against Mexican doctors at all, but I've seen a lot of negligent, actually health hindering problems because of that dentistry. So I don't know if that's a good example you're giving me, because
I'm talking to you on Dentistry Uncensored, because
I've
your
seen,
world.
we're repairing those Mexican dentists' work all the time. I'm going to give you this as an example. They're doing some of the Mexican dentists are doing braces here in garages, and we've had patients come in that have had their braces on for 5 years, and they are developmentally a mess. They've ruined their mouths, and it takes huge intervention to get them back. So I'm mostly seeing incompetent, negligent work from these dentists. So I would say nothing is better than hurting them.
I'm glad you come on the show, because that's just what I thought. But that's not my world.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that world.
I do, and so I say.
So you're saying nothing is.
No, I'm saying I don't want nothing. I want us solving that problem with appropriate practitioners, and I think that should be our emphasis. But I'm seeing people hurt because of this.
And I'm not.
Yes, I see it all the time.
I'm in Phoenix.
Yeah, I see it all the time.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
You changed a lot of my viewpoints over the last 30 years. and a lot of people I know. You're their public health role model. Jack Dillenberg. That guy, me and Jack had started a mutual Kris Volcheck admiration club. We could meet every Thursday, and it'd have to be at a bar. I mean, that would only be appropriate.
I know.
For me and Jack, anyway.
I wondered if we were going to have alcohol today.
Well, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
So we don't drink till noon on Sundays. All the other days, first thing. But what would let me say this? Is this a bias I have? Is this true? If you're going to dental school and you want a career in public health, does that mean you're never going to be the average dentist income? Does that mean you're going to be poor all your life? If I decide I'm not going to be a rich cosmetic dentist in Scottsdale, I'm not going to be the implant guy in Beverly Hills, I want to go treat the poor, does that mean I'm going to be poor my whole life?
I think some people would think that. I'm going to give myself as an example. Kids are coming out with $400,000 to $500,000 worth of debt. That's common out of ASDO or Midwestern or many schools. ASDO is a good example. A lot of those kids go to ASDO because they have a big public health heart, and I'm in contact with a lot of them. They would love to be doing or involved with us, but because of their high debt, and if you have a family, you want to support them well enough, and there's certain expectations there. It is a problem. That's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of nonprofits coming up with someone who's spearheading that. I was fortunate in other ways financially with some investments early on, and I'm a minimalist. I live in a 1,400 square foot home. But I'm comfortable, but my level of comfort would probably be considered by most of my dentists as absolutely inadequate. And yes, it's a problem.
And I want to tell you why you don't want a big home, because I have a big home, and all 4 of my boys, they all moved out, but I stayed in this big home by myself. So 3 out of 4 after college just said, well, Dad lives in a hotel. I think I'll just move back in.
And that's...
So the next time my last kid moves out, I'm going to get a fifth wheeler. I'm going to get a fifth wheeler and pull behind a Volkswagen.
You should join us downtown where stuff's happening. I'd love to have you join the village downtown.
You know why America's downtowns are so... One of the greatest gifts I ever got was, I had no idea when I started lecturing in 1990 that would mean that 25 years later, I would have lectured 1,000 times in 6 continents, and most of these cities I've been to 2 or 3 or 4 times, and America has the worst downtowns because, as silly as it is, it's the gas subsidies, where the highway bill comes from the Congress and builds all these freeways to suburbs, whereas every other society, the whole cost of the car is in the gas lane.
Of course it is.
So the roads, the bridges, the maintenance, all that. So they'll pay like $8 a liter for gas. Of course. So they all live downtown. So when you go downtown, Denmark, Copenhagen, Sydney, any intelligent town, everybody lives down there, and there's restaurants and bars and safety and fun.
Exactly, I agree.
And then Americans, Americans say, well, our gas is only $2. Yeah, and your inner cities are boring and ran down.
But, okay, you know what the general trend is over the last couple of years. It's back to the city.
But if you if you put the whole construction bill
absolutely
into the damn gallon of gas,
right. No,
then someone who's sitting there saying to their spouse, you know, we're each paying $10,000 a year in gas. We could say $20,000 if we move downtown.
Right.
That's what economic incentives, and America has the stupidest highway funding program on earth, and any economist would say that you should tie your behavior, like why should you raise my taxes for you to hike the Grand Canyon? If you go to the Grand Canyon, you pay the damn Grand Canyon fee because you're the one doing it. I'm not doing it. And if I was grandma and didn't have a car, or I rode my bike to work, why are my taxes paying for all the roads and bridges? But when all the roads and bridges is paid for by the gasoline, people make the decision to save money and move downtown. And every country, especially Europe,
right,
has the greatest, coolest, neatest downtowns in the world. And then you come to America.
Well, we have a few.
Yeah, Manhattan and San Fran.
Yeah.
But
Boston.
Yeah, Boston. I'll give you that.
DC some.
But think of how much more robust every downtown would be if they just changed the taxation.
Right, I agree. So,
do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. We haven't.
We subsidize.
We subsidize.
We subsidize the suburbs.
Absolutely, we subsidize.
Quit subsidizing the suburbs.
Right. Yes. No.
And then they go down there.
Which is a funny thing. Which is a funny thing that we're subsidizing the suburbs because, in general, we're not really a society that wants to subsidize artificially, or at least that's a lot of what we hear from capitalism, and that is no artificial subsidization to push the market to where it isn't. But we did. And we're
still doing it today.
And we are.
And as dentists, we still subsidize corn farmers, which most of that corn ain't corn on the cob. It's high fructose corn syrup. Can you imagine? I mean, is it insane that here in Phoenix, when you go into McDonald's, that bottled water costs more than a Coke or a Pepsi? Because the farmers are being... And if you said, we're going to stop subsidizing corn farmers, now you're a communist, you're anti-American, you're flying some hammer and sickle flag, but I can't believe it's 2017, the biggest fastest growing disease, diabetes, obesity, metabolic syndrome. Those are just the three I have. And dental decay. And they're still subsidizing corn.
So this is a little off, but I'm going to take you back to downtown. And this is all relative to what you were just speaking about, because I get it. But downtown Phoenix, and I'll quote the New York Times about 2 months ago. New York Times never has anything good, even though that's my favorite paper, it has never anything good about Phoenix to say. Nothing.
New York Times?
New York Times, never. Never. And I see it. Or we're 1/1000th of Manhattan, of New York City. I get it. But the New York Times about 2 months ago actually said, we're going to say it, Phoenix has a tinge of hip going on downtown. And you've seen all the condos and all the apartments. Are you downtown much or no?
Yeah, I do.
And the restaurants, and I live right off of Central. And
whenever I have to bail Ryan out of jail, I have to go
downtown.
I take an Uber.
But relative to where we were, there's big stuff happening in downtown Phoenix. I'm surprised. I live in the old historic district, so I can just walk down to Central and get on the light rail. But
which almost killed me.
Which what? The light rail?
I'm not making this up. I was called down. I was called down for jury duty. They called me for a 3-week trial. And I just said, be positive, be positive. Really enlightening. It was a drug deal, and it was a world I wasn't aware of at all.
Right.
But one day on the lunch break, I'm walking out of the courthouse, I'm new.
I know.
And all of a sudden, some man grabbed me and yanked me back, and the train went. And it scared. 4 hours later, my knees were vibrating, and I felt like kissing the guy. I didn't know what to do, but and I said to the guy, I said, "You absolutely saved my life." And he goes, "Damn right, I just saved my life." Even the wind from that thing, it's silent. It's silent.
It is.
And you're like a tourist because I'm not downtown. So I'm walking around like this. Look at this neat place. Oh my god. But anyway, but downtown Phoenix got a tinge of hip going.
A tinge of hip, and that's big.
You know
Those are big words from the New York Times.
You know what I liked also about it? I mean, just little common things that they could learn from all the other great. And what I mean by a great city is, you don't really find a great city around the world unless it's at least 500 years old.
Yeah, no, I mean
there's no great cities.
So
that
the
are
thing
100
is,
years old.
I agree, but it's. Why compare? We're a brand new nation with brand new cities, and it's not a fair comparison. I would love to have your opinion.
But look, but the point is making those parking garages.
Yeah.
You just walk by these parking garages. Now they're backing them up 20, 30 feet and just putting little bitty bars and little deals. It's like that was
we are
easy.
doing better.
And the other thing that the other cities do, all the great old cities from Kathmandu to whatever, they take the busy streets down the middle and they block them off from cars and they brick them and put chairs like Mill Avenue.
I know.
It's like, why in God's earth are cars honking and all that? I mean, there's not one European that ever walked to Mill Avenue and said, why are they driving through? They could go around.
Right.
They could go anywhere. Why don't but yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? We're going to have Venice because with this global warming, everybody's, when you go down to Miami, the last couple of times I've lectured in Miami, you get up in the morning, there's water on the streets.
Really?
I mean it's coming up. And it's so funny because you can't fight Mother Nature. So they're building walls and pumps and all this. And I just want to sit there and say, dude, this has happened before. It's called Venice. You need to go to Venice because 150, 100 years from now, there's no wall or pump system that's going to do this. You're just going to switch from a car to a canoe. And you need to just embrace it because it's coming up. I mean, I've lectured down there for 30 years, and you go out.
I haven't been to Miami for quite a while.
You go out there in the early morning on some of those streets, and there's
really
2 inches of water coming up. And you talk to the local dentist. That's why I love my homies, because no matter where I go, the guys picking you up, taking you to dinner, they got 8 years of college. They read hundreds of nonfiction books, and they're like, oh yeah, it's coming up. This was not here when I was 10, you know, and so
yeah.
So what would you say to someone listening to you who's a millennial? Most of the data Ryan and I get, all the emails are probably 20% dental students, everyone else under 30. They're probably listening to us. They can't believe that we're still alive and we're not dead. What would you say to someone who says, but I would love a career in public health?
Okay.
What would you say to them?
It's doable, and I should give some examples. Just to, a lot of times we don't talk about politics, religion, or money, but let's talk about money. About that, generally, if you're a dentist in Brighter Way, we'll just give our.
And that's where you're at.
I'm Brighter Way Institute. That's our nonprofit. It's Brighter Way Institute, and that's comprised of the Brighter Way Dental Center downtown for homeless. That is the Parsons Center for Pediatric Dentistry.
Can you email me those?
And for impoverished children, and then we have Canyon State Academy for foster children. Those are the 3 that we have right now.
And those are pretty much all in the same area.
No.
I mean, well, it seems like when we drive
one's
back
in Queen Creek. Oh, one's in Queen Creek, an hour away.
Okay.
So
I've never found the creek.
I know. Well, I never have either. But we tend to name a lot of bodies of waters here with no bodies of water.
Yeah.
But no, so the one's right downtown, and then the other one's over on 31st Avenue in Buckeye. Not far away, correct.
Yeah.
But they're completely different. One's at the homeless campus, and the other one's at a community center owned by the Murphy Elementary School District. And then Canyon State Academy is a campus for foster children. So those are the 3 clinics right now. And if you come on with us, or if you come on with, and I think we're generally market rate, your beginning salary is going to be like $160,000.
160.
160. Not bad. Not bad.
Well, I mean, the average household, combined average household, we have 320 million Americans living in 100 million homes.
Right.
And if everybody throws their money in a hat,
right,
it's not $50,000. It's about $48,500. Right. So 160 means you're making the same money as everyone that lives in 3 homes.
So
and if you think that is living a impoverished lifestyle,
I'm just saying that I don't. I think that's a fine living, but I'm saying a lot of my dentists, so many years in, might not think so, and we don't do the other. we don't do, if you get this much production, you get these bonuses. We don't incentivize for money. We incentivize for treating patients, in the sense of I don't want to incentivize production. That's not why we're here. The people I hire are absolutely very productive, but why are they productive? They're productive because they want to help as many people as possible. There's the mindset. Purpose. The whole thing, our speak is, why are we doing this? There's no mission without money. There's no mission without margin. And I have to be the one keeping that in line. But my focus isn't that. I only use money to help more people. It's not to reinvest.
Well, you should do a short commercial for your donors. Give a plug for GoDaddy.
Oh, hell yes. I'll give a...
GoDaddy.
No. I'm going to give a plug for GoDaddy, but it isn't GoDaddy. It isn't, as you know, Bob Parsons sold off most of his, and I don't know the details, sold off most of his GoDaddy. So it's the Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation. And Bob and Renee have supported us greatly for the last 5 years. They built the Parsons Center for Pediatric Dentistry.
And what was their connection? How did they get into dentistry?
So what happened was, when he started this foundation, it's only 5 years old. Fortunately, for us, Laura Mitchell, who's their executive director, she was asking around as who does innovative things in each area of medicine. And someone referred her over to me as an innovator for dentist. And
nice.
She showed up at my door, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I explained to her, and she said, "Put a proposal together for me." So
now, was this for the vets or the Hispanic or the children?
This is for the impoverished children at the Murphy Elementary School District Center. So they built out that $1.5 million specialty clinic in that center. It has 10 chairs. So I can't thank Bob and Renee enough, and Laura Mitchell. The other people that I have to just equally, and they've been with me a longer time, is Bruce and Diane Halley, who own Discount Tire. And they...
Is Discount... Is that a national chain or
national chain? It's a national chain.
It's headquartered out of here?
It's headquartered here. Thank goodness.
I did not know Discount Tire. That's the one where they throw the tire through.
Yes, that's the one. So Bruce and Diane.
Can I film the next commercial? I've always wanted to throw a tire.
Okay. Anything you can do to promote those two. And Bruce and Diane Halley have been with me since 2010. They've supported the children's clinic, and now they're our major supporter for veterans. And as you know, the downtown clinic is now for veterans, it's a national training center for implants and dentures. But that's all focused on our homeless veterans, and they've been supportive of that.
And that's another thing. I mean, This is Dentistry Uncensored. I find it so bizarre that you go to a sporting event like a Super Bowl, and the Air Force flies over, and everybody's patriotic and all that, and they shed a tear. And then in Vietnam, when we were little, I mean, everybody lost someone on their block in Vietnam. 58,600 boys were died. Right. But they went for 12 months and came back. And they just kept sending these guys back 3 or 4 times. And they come back, and they don't have dental or mental health insurance. I mean, that's almost evil to send someone to war. Not once, twice, 3, 4 times. They come back, and they don't have access to mental health or dental. And not that deal. How many of those boys lost those teeth in war?
Let me give you this one.
I mean, is that like the most cynical, crazy shit you've ever seen in America?
Okay, this was probably 9 months ago. And I had this special ops guy come in. Really sweet, but just huge guy, but very soft-spoken. And I went in to do his exam. And I always I don't know what's happening. Hey, what'd you do? And so he showed me his teeth. And they were just nubs, just complete nubs. And the first thing I said, were you on crystal meth? Did you wear them away? What happened? Did you use lemon? They were worn off. And again, upper and lower is just nubs. He said, no, I've never used drugs. He said, I've been on 3 tours. I'm special ops. And when I'm banging, knocking down doors and people are shooting at me, I'm shearing my teeth. He said, I sheared my teeth off. I could feel it crumbling as I was moving through doors or shooting people, or they were shooting at me. And he ended up with these nubs of teeth, and he said, I'll never be the same, but I'm okay with that. I used to be a very hard-charging, mentally aware guy, but I've been kind of destroyed, and I know that, and I'm accepting that. The only thing left that is bothering me the most are my teeth. And I have nowhere to go, because if you're not 100% disabled, you don't get dental care. 100% disabled from your service. So we get out the majority at our clinic. So we did a full mouth reconstruction on this guy.
But what does it say to the morality of the federal government? The ethics of it? I mean, it almost makes them morally bankrupt. That you would do that to somebody, send them to war.
Well, I'll extend that.
When they come in. I'm not talking about giving them a pension until they're 105. I'm talking about this guy came back destroyed. Don't you have to at least return him back to society? Stabilize teeth, mental health care. I mean, it's really...
I agree. Where are we as a society that we're not pushing for that? That all flows up from... I'm going to extend that one more. All of us have a big heart for veterans. I am so pleased that we got to do a full mouth reconstruction, and we can do it with our volunteers and the implants and the dentures. We can do whatever we want, and we should. So we get to do what I think society should be doing. We should be providing that. But there's not a will to go ahead and take more money to give these people more care.
How many homeless vets do you think you've seen in your lifetime? If you had to put a number on, because they might be thinking there's 3 guys now. How many homeless vets have you seen just in Phoenix?
We are
the CAS. Is it the CAS?
No. It's Brighter Way Dental Center.
Okay.
Nothing to do with CAS.
But how many?
CAS.
How many? Because some of my homies might be thinking, okay, so there's 3 guys in a big town of Phoenix.
Okay.
How many guys do you think you've seen homeless vets?
So we've probably seen 10,000 since I started homeless vets.
10,000. That's a military. That's a brigade. I mean, I don't know what a brigade is, but that's huge.
It is
10,000.
We every 2 months, and we'll never end. Well, there'll never be an end of supply of veterans to work on. Every 2 months, with what we do with implants. For the year on vets, we do $3 million of production on veterans every year now.
So what if one of the homies listening says, I want to do volunteer dentistry, but I don't really... a lot of women say, I don't want to do missionary dentistry because I'm a girl. I don't feel safe in these other countries in Caribbean, Central America. What if someone listening says, I want to come down and do charity dentistry on the vets or the poor children? How does
go on brighterwaydental.org.
brighterwaydental.org.
Go on brighterwaydental.org.
Okay.
So you can volunteer
or you spell Brighter Way. It's Brighter
Way.
BRIGHTER way like way
dental.org, and the name of the nonprofit is Brighter Way Institute.
So if my homies are listening and they say, dude, I want to come down and do some charity, where are you? Where is Brighter Way in Phoenix? What hotels, resorts would they stay at? Is there anything fun to stay at?
Absolutely. So
one of the most funs I had on sometimes you go to missions and you're in third world living conditions. Last time me and Ryan and the boys went to one, we actually stayed in a 5-star resort in Acapulco.
That's right.
Having the greatest food, but then in the morning get up and just drive.
So it's kind of beautiful because you can go to the Palomar, which is a boutique hotel downtown, or the Renaissance, or any of those, which are pretty nice. But a lot of people come in who are volunteering from across the nation to do training for implants, which they can go on and look at that, or mostly training for implants.
Is that on the Brighter Way website?
Yes, it is. So they can come in, they go to Scottsdale, hang out, have all the luxuries of the 5-star resorts, and then they come downtown and get exposure to the homeless, and they help our vets by placing and training with them for implants. So there's plenty of reasons to come to Phoenix for that. And
where's the implant thing on there?
So here's the implant. So right here. So wait a minute, home. Oh.
Are you?
Oh no, you're on Brighter Way. I need Brighter Way. It's brighterwaydental.org. You're on the Brighter Way Dental Center. So go to brighterwaydental.org.
Okay.
That's just the homeless case. So
I've been saying, so it's Brighter Way Dental.
There. So there's if you go through this, it has all of our overlooked and underserved. Most veterans lack comprehensive. You go to live implants, and it's with the vets that's connected to that. It'll take you over to there, and it's all, you can sign up to do implant training.
With who?
Joe Marinfar, Dr. Joe Marinfar.
Okay.
Okay, then go to visit website, then you'll pull up, and it does all the training, learn more, contact, all the sponsors, what we're doing. So this is going to turn into one of the largest implant centers in the nation.
Well, it should, I imagine.
It is.
I can't see you being number 2 or number 3 or anything. Now, does
Justin? So Affordable Dentures has an exclusive contract with us as a DSO. They're going to build out our new clinic down there. So they're adding another 8 to 10 chairs as a training center. So I need to plug all.
And explain what Affordable Dentures is, because I got to make a point about Affordable Dentures.
Okay, so Affordable Dentures is a DSO with 300 same-day denture clinics across the nation. Yeah.
Who's the CEO of that?
Doug Brown.
Can you tell him to come on the show and talk about this too? We can do him long distance over Skype.
Yeah, because it's big PR for him. Yeah,
but I just want to say one thing about Affordable Dentures.
Yes,
it's actually the oldest DSO, and there's a reason why they've been so successful, because dentists always think all the money's with the rich. And they saw this massively overlooked deal, and you know who's following in their footsteps of all the modern day new ones? It's actually Aspen.
Yeah.
If anybody has, they have a standard building, a standard look, but they're going to all the poor areas, and they're making money in the poor. In California, it was Western Dental.
Right.
And the dentist, they always want to go to Beverly Hills, Key Biscayne, and Scottsdale. So Affordable Dentures, the oldest, most successful DSMO. You got to go where they ain't. If everybody wants to go to North Scottsdale and be a cosmetic dentist, probably not a lot of money left for you.
Well, look what they're doing for us. So not only are we going to have an exclusive with them, but it does. So they're going to build out their own training center there. So every month they're going to be bringing in their doctors from across the nation, placing 20 to 25 implants, and then they go back, and then their return of investment, because now they're placing implants. So, but the other, Joe, has a separate piece, and he's working with Novo Biocare and Straumann, and he brings in dentists from across the nation to learn Nobel and Straumann. But my priority down there is Affordable Dentures. So they're building out a new clinic, a new training center, so that every month we can do trainings from across the nation right there. So there's 2 elements. Joe's implant training for dentists that want to come in, separate from Affordable Dentures. Affordable Dentures only brings in their docs, and it's exclusive to them.
And all this information is on Brighter Way Live?
Brighter Way, yes, it is.
Brighter Way Live?
Yes, .org. It's all there.
Brighter Way Live. What was the other website you
used? So the universal website is brighterwaydental.org. That takes you to Brighter Way Institute. And then it shows all of our clinics and the implant courses coming up.
Okay, so Brighter Way Dental is the mothership.
Brighter Way Institute is the mothership.
But
Brighter Way Institute. But we couldn't get this name here. BrighterWayDental.org is our URL.
Come on, you know the guy from GoDaddy?
No, I couldn't get it.
He's the one who owns all these domains.
I couldn't get it. So Brighter Way Institute is the overarching one. So we have 3 clinics, and now we have a national implant training center with Affordable Dentures, and then the independent mentorships for implants that are coming down with Joe Marinfar. So people can come from across the nation.
He also teaches at Midwestern, doesn't he?
I don't know if he does that anymore. He used to. Yeah, he used to.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, seriously, you have been a mentor of mine forever. I remember when I met Jack Dillenberg, fluoridating Phoenix in '89. You were already had your brand. You were already.
Did I?
Oh, absolutely. And then we. It's. I think you're one of the greatest. Dentistry. It has its 1,000 points of light. And you're one of them.
No.
You really are. Dentistry is one of 1,000 points of light. I think what you've done and the innovation and getting big companies like Affordable and also getting
Well,
Who's my buddy? I'm getting.
Well, you know,
Who's the other implant guy bringing him down?
oh, Justin Moody. You know,
Justin,
he
David
hangs out with
Moody.
you all the time.
Justin Moody from Nebraska, and he's got his podcast. What is it? Worms.
Dental implants and worms.
He has,
Dental implants
he has
and worms.
3 courses at our place this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
And he just bought a house down here.
he's going to be coming heavily on board with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe's going to be doing his thing. Justin's going to be doing his thing.
And
But
who set him up with you?
This all started when I kind of figured out how to do volunteers from across the nation and just started piddling along. Then one of my community liaisons, Kapia Brown, said, Joe Marinford. Joe came in, Jimmy Smiros. Do you know Jimmy Smiros? He's with Affordable Dentures. And then it all started to gel. So it started with Implant Direct. Jimmy Smiros moved over to Affordable Dentures, and then everything started to gel.
Nice.
Yeah.
But tell them the Legal S thing is that you, because of your reputation, everybody goes to Mexico and Dominican Republic because you can't take a licensed dentist in Texas and practice in another state.
No, you can't. There's only 3 states that allow that. And Arizona is one of them. And so if you come...
Who's the other 2?
So Colorado. In Arizona, you can come 14 days for the year to a charitable institution. You have to be a nonprofit. And you can cross state lines and do dentistry on the underserved.
What if they're Canadian?
No.
Yeah, that's fair, because
Yeah.
Canadians, come on.
No.
They're not even real dentists up there.
So
They play hockey. They don't even promote oral health.
So they can come across state lines, sign up as a volunteer with Brighter Way Institute, and as a volunteer, they work on our veterans and our homeless, but they get training at the same time.
Well, we need to get it from Canada too, because 10% of the home. This is the number one winter vacation spot for Canadians. I mean,
It would take a legislative act to get that. That's it.
From Arizona or from the feds?
From Arizona.
Well, we could. Isn't that doable? With you talked to Kevin Earl at the Arizona State.
Well, it would be more the board with Elaine, I think, or
With
beyond
Arizona.
that.
Huh.
So the board controls that licensing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to the board. Kudos to the board.
Oh, let me.
So many government agencies. Go ahead.
Okay, Speaking of that, I've got to give big kudos to Elaine and the Arizona State Board of Dental Examiners and Nancy Chambers. I
Agree.
They
Agree.
They have helped us facilitate all these trainings because all the licensing have to go through them, and they've pushed all this through for me. It's what's the law, but they've taken this on to help our veterans. So the board itself, Nancy and Elaine, have taken this on as a project, and they help facilitate all those licenses coming in. So I have to give.
And it's so typical of a government agency to say, I just don't want to deal with it. I'm on 8 to 5, I'm clock in, clock out.
No, they didn't.
So to have a government agency go above and beyond.
They have, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I have to give them big kudos because that's an integral part of this happening. If they weren't a part of this, making this happen, this wouldn't be happening for our veterans. So.
And there's one other agency, just before you go, there's St. Vincent de Paul.
Yes.
That's kind of near.
Yeah, St. Vincent de Paul. Well, they're down on 3rd Avenue in Watkins. Dr. Ken Snyder, that's one of the oldest, longest standing dental clinics, nonprofits we have in the city. They have a fantastic program. Dr. Snyder really is a big hero. He's my hero. He just had his 70th birthday. We go out drinking a lot. He's the most demonstrative, secure, loving man that I know. So they have a...
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, look,
yeah.
send him down here.
Ken Snyder is...
You should do a Dental Public Health Week. We should kick it off with you, the CEO, Affordable Doug Brown, your mentor from St. Vincent de Paul, and the implant guy.
The implant guy?
We need to get a name. I think it's the 9th. Should we call it the 9th specialty? Or
whatever. Maybe you'll start something, Howard.
Yeah, because it is the most overlooked. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the sexy implants, bleaching, bonding, veneers. No one wants to talk about the homeless.
The beauty here, too, just what you said, and it makes a difference, if you can have the mission, such as helping the homeless, but bring all those sexy things, because people want that. So for us to be doing implants and all on fours with the homeless, there's where you get your biggest return. So people get sexy, but they get a mission.
And you shouldn't have to leave the country.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't have to leave the country.
And it's one thing for guys to go to the country, but a lot of women tell me it's very different going to a foreign country as a girl.
So the women can come hang out in Scottsdale, do their spa thing, and still come down and help the homeless. Right. And I love that for us to be able to do that. And I feel bad
because the last time I did a charity dentistry, the ethics and morality of it were so bad. I got asked to do a missionary charity dentistry thing in Africa, and I said, I'm really too busy. And I said I couldn't do it. And Eric Harris called me and he said, dude, it's at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. We'll do the missionary dentistry, then we'll climb Mount Kili, and then we'll go to the Serengeti.
I love it.
And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm on the way over here saying, I shouldn't really tell you, but I'm doing missionary dentistry. Because when it was missionary dentistry, I just turned it down. But when it comes with the tour of the Serengeti, so they want to come to Scottsdale. They want to stay in the resort. So they can kill two birds with one stone.
So what has happened as you're speaking about, let's say, Mexico or any place else that they've been going, these are good people wanting to do good things, but they want to get trained, so they've gone out of the country. And what has happened a lot of times, and they don't feel good about that, is they're placing implants. Well, there's a whole hell of a lot of people running around Mexico not restored. They just play...
Or complications.
And there's no fault. So the beauty is these people are followed, the veterans.
And I want to say one thing about missionary dentistry is there's some masters of it. I was turned on to this by Jerome Smith, and now his nephew Danny Dominguez is taking this deal. But the best one is you don't want to fly in like Star Wars and do a bunch of fancy treatment, then get up and leave like a UFO. You need sustainability. If you're going to go to a village, you should find the local dentist there. And then when you're working with him, you should be training him, but then you should be connected. Right. So if he calls you back 3 months later and say, man, it'd really be nice to have a box of lidocaine or a box of this or that. So it's sustainability. And so when you go there, find a local, get connected. He's got a Samsung, he's got a Smartsung, and all your suppliers, they'll give you all their expired stuff. And it may be, how do you have expired amalgam and thing, just make it more sustainable. And what you have is, if someone comes down here and places 5 implants and then it goes south or gets infected or whatever.
We have the specialist to take care of them. Because there are patients. Yeah. This is just a piece, so we're working them up to do big stuff. They just follow into the implant track and then they continue on.
But you said you've seen 10,000. We're way over time, but I'll just end it here. You said there's been 10,000
since we started
veterans that served in war, homeless, needing dental work. And whenever I've gone down there, am I exaggerating? It's like the line is almost a football field.
So which one are you speaking about?
Well, when I go there, the
Mission of Mercy thing, or no? You mean
our
courtyard, a grass courtyard.
How many people? That's the size of a football field.
It is the size of a football field.
And how many people are standing out there?
I don't know.
1,000?
I don't know. It's probably at least 1,000 move.
And you know what's so cool about you is.
That's my favorite spot.
So many times you're sitting there and some person will walk by. I remember the thing that almost made me cry when I saw you. One time I was down there and you saw this guy, and we were all talking and everything, and you saw this guy, and he was obviously very challenged and talking in this space, whatever. And he had disappeared and shown back up. And you started talking to him and whatever, and then you turned to us and said, yeah, sometimes these guys will disappear and they'll end up in L.A., and a year later they'll be back here. And I could just tell you are such at home with homeless, schizophrenic, living on the street. It seemed like you'd rather talk to that guy than any king or queen.
Absolutely. I go out at lunch. That's my home. The other thing is, it's just much more interesting. the complexities of what's going on there. But the other thing is, that's just all of us. I say it every time I meet a homeless person. If they're a little paranoid. Well, I have a little paranoia. I might be addicted to coffee or beer, but it's just to the extent. But I see them. Everybody that walks up, they just have all the same ailments. It's just to degree. They can't manage their illnesses. We manage our crazy. I can manage my crazy. You manage your crazy. Everybody.
I am actually the only normal person on earth. I have it certified by a doctor. And signed.
We just manage our crazy. That's it.
Yeah.
They can't manage their crazy.
I think it's funny how you'll see redneck idiots, talking about drug dealers. Like, dude, you can't even give up cheese. You can't give up cheese.
Exactly.
But this guy's supposed to get off a drug.
No,
he's mentally ill.
we all. So if you just look at what any of us are addicted, we're all addicted. We're all mentally ill. We manage those. It's just a piece. And here's the thing: is we manage them enough. What are we judged on? We manage things enough to make money in a capitalistic society. Other people can't, and they're judged on whether they can have a job or not. Well, they can't because they can't manage the things that we can manage. But there's no difference. There's no difference.
So final question. Last question, because we are double, triple.
I was going to say that you added all this out to a certain amount. Okay. I'm adding something too.
My final question.
Okay.
Who's more batshit crazy, you or me?
I'm hoping it's me. I'm hoping it's me.
Oh, man. Thanks for coming by.
Okay.
Seriously. Thank you so much.